Day one of making Ariana Grande's Grammy dress. And yes, it's day one because this is huge. The original dress took 200 hours. I don't have that time, so I have a hoop skirt. That stain is from a project gone wrong. I got the skirt and the mannequin from Amazon. We don't need these, so yeet them. Step one, we have to cover this. We're gonna make a skirt using 5 yards of 108-inch fabric. I use this app to calculate how much I need. It gives you your waist, how much fabric you need, and a diagram. I laid it out on the ground, folded it over, and I marked out our skirt. Time to cut and sew. So there's the skirt on the mannequin. Now it's time for the tulle. I'm going to use 12 yards of it for the bottom part of the skirt. I'm using a regular foot with a basting stitch to gather. Now I have to hand gather this to a manageable amount. Okay, pinned on. Time to sew down. Now repeat till you get to the top. Your final layers go all the way to the floor. Come back for part 2.
Today we're building a treehouse entirely out of saran wrap. I just ordered 2,000 yards of saran wrap. That's over a mile. I called the boys over, found the perfect 3 trees, and we got to work. We started off just wrapping it around the trees and scrunched it together for strength. Then we started making like a spider's web. We then started pulling the roll over dozens of times. We really had to figure out the best way to make sure that it was tight, so we used the 3 of us to really work the angles in the right way. The base was getting smaller as we made it tighter, so we did another layer around the edge. After a couple of hours, we finally think we have a base, so here is the first test. I'm pretty nervous about this one.
I don't know where we went wrong.
Let's go, he made it. It's looking really good, guys. Well, the goal of this is to make an entire cocoon for myself to sleep in for a whole winter's night and still be super cozy. I'm running out of time, so I'll see you guys in part 2.
Part 2 of Vintage Dollhouse Makeover. I was not about to sit there for 3 hours and paint no wall design again, so I broke out the wallpaper. No, it's totally scrapbook paper. But it works, and I love it. I was kind of eager to try out this floor idea, so I got to it. Essentially just turn little popsicle sticks into planks of wood, and there you go. I was so shocked. Paint bottles are just holding it tight. But we're not stopping there. No, we're gonna stain them. This really cool gel stain I've never seen before, but I'm a fan. And this is actually the exact colors of my own floors, so bonus. But we can't leave it looking all unfinished like that. How unprofessional. On to baseboards. But first we clear coat the floor because we're extra. Look at that. Ah, so pretty. This is where it kind of starts to come together. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And yeah, there's like one room done. Kinda. Come back for part 3.
Guess what? It's time for another room makeover. This time I'm taking on my daughter's room. She's 13 years old, so I'm gonna give this place a glow up. I'm gonna get really creative, rock what I've got, and hopefully spend under $10. Step 1, we're painting this and freshening up this desk. So cute. So much better. Here's my $10 spent. Oh my gosh, this chair. So much better. Adding a clear coat. Clorox wipes. Now pencil cup. Storage bin. And done. More storage bins. Clear storage drawer. Now it's time to clean out this closet. Making progress. Organization complete. Now let's make some plants. For a succulent, draw 5 of these shapes. Cut them out. Trace the shapes on some poster board. Cut and paint. Cut a slit, then glue. Glue leaves in a circle. Roll the smaller leaves to create a center. Here they are done. Before and after. Before, after. Before and after. She loves it.
DIY surprise cake part 2. To figure out exactly how big I needed to make the hole in the cake, I used an extra box to put an indent so that I could cut it out. And using a long skinny knife, I very carefully cut out the middle square with the help of my friend Sarah, who held the cake in place for me. Using a spatula on either side, I lifted out the center section and saved it to eat later. To keep the box in place, I applied hot glue to each of the corners and in the middle, and then I stuck it down to the plate at the bottom of the cake box. I also taped the back of the Spider-Man candle to the last dollar sticking out so that I could place it on top of the cake and it would be connected to the dollar. When the topper is pulled out, it will pull the money out of the box. For the last step, I replaced the top part of the cake to fill in the rest above the box, and then I'm going to be putting some cream cheese icing over to conceal the little hidden compartment. Here's the finished result. Come back tomorrow to see his reaction when we cut it.
You see a pallet, I see a shelf to go over my bed. Hey guys, for those of you who don't know, my 5 roommates and I decided to take on the challenge in decorating our whole entire college house in things we find in the trash because we are all broke. So I started off with trimming off everything that I didn't want, which was fine because most of the edges were rotting on the pallet anyway, and that's the size I came up with. And then I began to sand, which took a very, very long time, but I thought I did a pretty good job. And then I wiped it down to get all the dust off, but then my dad said no and whipped out the electric sander. He said I didn't do good enough. And then I took the painter's tape and made a design with it because I thought if it was all brown, it would look a little too boring. And I took this wood finish and painted everything that I wanted. And then that's how that turned out. And then I took the white and painted on the other side and the edges, and I'm probably going to end up painting the bottom too. And then I took the tape off, and that's how it turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments.